take care of the family. We'll remember Jose forever.
Now at 6, a devastating loss for a local police department. Tributes pouring in for an off-duty officer tragically killed in a car accident. And another heated dispute between the city council and Mayor Adams. Why the council says the mayor's involuntary removal program isn't helping those struggling with mental health.
Okay, I disagree with them.
How the mayor is fighting back. A long-promised subway line may be closer to becoming reality. The MTA's latest step forward for the 2nd Avenue subway extension. Plus,
ride that wave!
New Jersey women making history by tackling disparities in football.
There's nothing wrong with being physical. There's nothing wrong with having aggression and being able to get that aggression out in a sport.
It is good to be with you. I'm Christine Johnson, and we begin here at 6 with a police officer who served in the NYPD and the northern suburbs being remembered tonight as a cop's cop. Jose Santiago Jr. was off duty last weekend when a wrong-way driver smashed into his vehicle. He died, and his wife was injured. Tony Aiello spoke with heartbroken friends and colleagues.
At the Washingtonville police station, 3 candles are burning at the base of Jose Santiago's locker. And yet, despite the sadness, his memory lights a smile for Police Chief Brian Zucchero.
Jose brings a smile to my face when I think about Jose. He brings professionalism, integrity anytime you think of Jose. And he's well respected in our community and our department.
Santiago retired from the NYPD 20 years ago, but kept working part-time as a cop in Orange County. Saturday, he was driving in Sullivan County, heading east on Route 17 in Mamakating. Around 5:15 at exit 113, there was a deadly crash. State police say a van heading west suddenly crossed the median and smashed into Santiago's vehicle. He died at the scene. His wife Blanca was rushed to Garnett Medical Center. Mrs. Santiago is still hospitalized, but her friends, family, and community are taking heart. She is improving. Jose Santiago leaves behind 3 children, including son Richard, a cop in the city of Poughkeepsie. The Orange County executive says Santiago made those he worked with better.
Wonderful, wonderful guy. Everybody referred to him as somebody that he mentored every police officer because he had so much experience. A whole career in Highway 1 with NYPD. Just a great guy.
While the circumstances of his death are still under investigation, it's the legacy of Santiago's life that the community is focused on.
We'll take care of the family. We'll remember Jose forever. We'll make sure we keep his legacy alive here at the PD.
Tony Aiello, CBS News, New York.
The other driver did stay at the scene and suffered only minor injuries. The wake for Officer Santiago is Sunday at Ferguson Funeral Home in Washingtonville, and then a funeral mass will be held Monday the 31st at St. Mary's Church, also in Washingtonville. A taxi driver in Brooklyn picked up a fare and then ended up getting shot in the face. Driver Prince Ezekiel was still wearing a bandage on his cheek when we caught up with him. He said that he picked up a passenger in Canarsie around 1:30 this morning, and then shortly after, the passenger asked him to return to the pickup location. They argued, and then things escalated.
Now, when he stepped out of the car, he says, "I will have to kill you." I took everything that you have. What I saw is the gun pointing straight at my head, at point blank.
A $5,000 reward is being offered by the New York State Federation of Taxi Drivers for any information leading to an arrest. One of the mayor's signature mental health programs is in question tonight. A report from City Hall suggests that sending mentally ill homeless to receive involuntary care just hasn't been effective. But the mayor disagrees, and political reporter Marcia Kramer is here with that story tonight. Marcia.
Well, Christine, members of the City Council were never really happy with the mayor's decision to force the severely mentally ill to get treatment against their will. And their new report comes as the mayor says he's gearing up to run for re-election and wants to tout his accomplishments.
The 2024 report from the Mayor's Office of Community Mental Health cites 58% of clinician-initiated transports resulting in admissions at a New York City public hospital, but the reports fails to report on the outcomes of officer-initiated transports.
Public Advocate Jamani Williams at a city council hearing raising questions about the program Mayor Adams initiated in late 2022 to deal with the mentally ill homeless on the subways and on the city streets.
It's not about involuntary hospitalization. It's about the continuum of care that's necessary after the hospitals.
The council's findings raising a number of questions, including racial disparities. Black New Yorkers make up 24% of the city's population, but accounted for 54% of the involuntary transports. The transports were more than 5 times as likely to originate from a private residence than those struggling with mental illness on the subways or the streets. Mayor Adams insisted the program treats people who need the help and is not based on race.
We're going to go where the issue is, and we're not going to play race politics. We are not going to say, hey, this person needs to be involuntarily removed, but hold on, they're black, so we're not going to do it. They're Hispanic, we're not going to do it. They're white, we're not going to do it. If you want to play that analysis, look at the ethnicity of those who are being majorly impacted. Look at the homeless population and the ethnic breakdown of that. You ride your subway system, look and see who's homeless. Look at the ethnic demographics of who's homeless. Look at the ethnic demographics of those who are charged with some of these crimes of pushing people in the subway system, slashing, etc.
Now, the mayor went even further, suggesting council members leave what he called the, quote, sterile environment of the city council chamber and see the reality of what's actually going on the streets and on the subways. And by the way, there are questions about whether the mayor will run as an independent, but today he insisted he's running for re-election as a Democrat. We'll have to wait and see.
We will, and we know we'll keep you up. You will keep us updated, Marcia. Thank you.
Indeed.
Marcia, of course, our political reporter here at CBS New York, and she's on top of everything going on at City Hall and beyond. You can find all of her reports by scanning the QR code there on your screen. Let's turn now to our first alert forecast. Here's a live look outside on this dreary start to the week. At least it has been so far today, but the rain moving out, as you can see there on the horizon. Things will look better tomorrow when we wake up. Meteorologist Vanessa Murdoch here with the details. Vanessa?
Yeah, it is going to be a case of clear skies and no more rain as you step outside tomorrow morning. But right now, we do have low clouds looming over the city still. Rain lingers to the east, 48 degrees. It's actually a degree warmer right now than it was an hour ago. And that's because the rain has stopped. That's a wonderful thing, right? We've had enough of that today, but still some light rain on the island at this point in time for those of you in Easton Nassau, all the way out to the Twin Forks, and some spotty drops over Ocean and Monmouth counties. As we make our way forward in your forecast, as of now, yes, we see that there is some wet weather. And notice how this particular model is underrepresenting where the rain is beginning. So it's more about here. But really, it's off the east end by 8 o'clock. Whether or not it's representing it well or not, by midnight, we'll see a slim resurgence in cloud cover, maybe a stray sprinkle. By daybreak tomorrow, it is sunshine, and your Tuesday will be bright and much warmer. Highs today, as I just showed you, 48 degrees. That's the high today. Tomorrow, we're going to see 57 in the city, mid-50s on the island through the lower Hudson. Inland New Jersey, we will see some low, maybe even some mid-60s. It is possible. We're looking at a beautiful Tuesday on tap. In my full forecast, we'll talk about how long we can hold on to this very beautiful spring weather. Christine, back to you.
As long as we can, Vanessa. Thank you. Rallies at Columbia University today against the school's move to make changes requested by the Trump administration. Announced by Columbia's interim president last week, these changes include hiring new special officers with arresting power, modifying the disciplinary process, and appointing a new senior vice provost who will review programs like the Center for Palestine Studies. The hope is that the federal government will now restore the $400 million it pulled. Professors held a rally saying academic freedom is at risk.
The president and the provost have unilateral control of discipline, that there's much more political pressure is going to be exerted on them.
We did reach out to the U.S. Department of Education and Columbia for comment, but we did not hear back. Testimony will continue tomorrow in the corruption trial against Nadine Menendez. She's the wife of former Senator Bob Menendez, who has been sentenced to 11 years behind bars. Nadine hid under an umbrella as she left the courthouse this evening. Opening statements started nearly 2 hours late today. Prosecutors say that Nadine Menendez and her husband engaged in a corrupt relationship with 3 New Jersey businessmen, allegedly taking bribes, including gold bars and political favors. Nadine Menendez has pleaded not guilty. Commuters in East Harlem could be closer to gaining access to the 2nd Avenue subway. Today, the MTA announced a big step forward in the project, and transportation reporter Elijah Westbrook joins me on set with more on all of this exciting news. Elijah, what'd you learn?
So I learned today, Christine, that the MTA board is set to take a vote on Wednesday aimed at awarding a $186 million contract for a consultant to oversee the work of the extension of the 2nd Avenue subway. So board members today, they're telling us that it's a joint venture between 2 of some of the city's biggest construction management firms. A source tells me after this step, the transit agency will then have to draft up additional contracts for digging underground and building the new stations. This is just the latest move the MTA is making to begin work on bringing the Q train to 125th Street. The president of MTA's Construction and Development gave us some insight into what makes this contract different from some of the others with this project.
This contract includes a performance evaluation program in which there will be additional payments for excellent performance and a reduction in fee for unsatisfactory performance. There will be incentive payments for early completion of key milestones, including reaching revenue service, the most important of milestones, and there will be liquidated damages for each day that the milestones are delivered late.
Now, keep in mind, 2nd Avenue subway is funded by congestion pricing. The MTA predicts the work will cost them around $7.7 billion. Again, the board is expected to take a vote on this matter on Wednesday's board meeting.
Speaking of funding, the Trump administration has been very harsh with the MTA as of late. You talked about congestion pricing. Now they're even talking about reducing crime in the subways, saying that they haven't done enough. Over the weekend, I know that there was some more messaging out of Washington. How is the agency responding to that?
Yeah, so there were certainly some choice words that were issued, if you will, by the Department of Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy that we won't necessarily repeat here on the air, but it was aimed at essentially threatening the MTA that they need to reduce crime. But the MTA is saying, hey, look, we've done our best to reduce crime. In fact, just for the month of February alone, they say that there's been a 16% reduction in crime from this same time period last year. I'll leave you with this. I'm told the MTA is preparing a response with the federal government in hopes of them reversing this decision here. So there's a lot that's at stake right now, Christine.
All right, Elijah, you stay on it for us. Keep us posted.
Will do.
All right, thank you. And Elijah does cover transportation for us. You can read more about the 2nd Avenue subway plan and pass along any transportation story idea or issue by scanning the QR code there on your screen. The future of a community staple in Little Italy is in jeopardy. Why city officials say the beloved Elizabeth Street Garden could close to the public any day, and how residents are responding to this. Plus, much needed relief for New Jersey commuters driving Interstate 80, the discounts now being offered to avoid that sinkhole mess. Plus,
I'm a former pageant girl. I sing and dance for a living. No one would expect me to be playing tackle football.
a new all-female football team in our area, how they are riding a wave to a promising debut. Over to Maurice and John now with a look ahead at the evening news.
Details of a military operation were accidentally texted out hours before a U.S. airstrike.
You'll be surprised about who spilled the secret. That's tonight on the CBS Evening News.